Today's stream subject is how to level up in life like in solo leveling. Have you ever dreamed of having your own system, your own HUD that you could use to manage your stats, quests, and skill points? That's actually what happens to JIN-WOO, the protagonist of solo leveling. Through his double awakening in a dungeon, he gains access to the system which allows him to level up his stats and get stronger by completing quests. And you may have thought about how cool it would be to have something like that in your own life, and there is a good reason for it. It's motivating. But here's the thing, you can actually create it and no need to die in some double dungeon either. You can create your own system to manage your life and improve in every area of your life in an easier way. And for the past 3 years, I have been obsessed about creating and implementing life supporting systems in my life, and I have invested more than 2.7k in courses and coaching to achieve that goal. That's why in today's stream, I will present you 3 key systems that you can implement right now to level up quickly in every area of your life. And stay until the end because I will show you how I have implemented the systems in my own life with practical examples. But first, let's talk about why having our own systems feels so appealing. And the first reason is gamification. Gamification is the application of typical elements of video games like EXP, points, UI, and stuff like that to increase engagement with a product or service. It is typically used in online marketing, but you can apply this to everything in your life, such as sports, reading, learning a new skill, and stuff like that. Systems create structure and standardized procedures to achieve a desired goal. In business language, we call it SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. They are documents that you use to map every step to achieve the desired results for a specific action in your business. It is then used for delegation purposes. But it's not only applicable to businesses. Having systems in your life allows you to automate a lot of tasks in your daily life and free up a lot of mental RAM. If you have no systems, you have no way to predictably have desired results in your life in anything, which leads to inefficiencies. And without them, life gets messy and you aren't able to work toward your goals because you are already drowned by your daily responsibilities. And because you don't have reliable systems, you don't trust yourself as well to get results, which leads to self-doubt. There are 2 benefits to having systems in your life, which is first, harnessing the power of gamification, and 2, free up mental RAM by consistently managing your daily responsibilities so you have the mental energy to work on creating something meaningful for you. Now that we understand that, we can move on to the first life system. And our first life system is about leveling up our stats. How are we going to do that? First, we have journaling. So journaling is a very known habit in self-improvement, but you have to understand why it is so talked about. And the thing is, every day is a golden mine of information, which gold can only be extracted through reflection. So if you spend your day without thinking about it, it's like reading a book without taking notes. You miss out on all the learning opportunities that will allow you to get through the next step of happiness and growth. There is this quote of Jessamine West, which is an American writer, who said, "People who keep journals have life twice." What is the frequency at which you should journal? What I recommend is having a daily journaling habit of like 5 minutes every day at the end of the day, just to reflect on just what happened on the day. Then you can have a weekly journaling session when you're basically reviewing your week. Then you can have a monthly one, which will be around a 40-minute duration. Then a quarterly one every quarter, which will be like 1 hour. And then a yearly one, which will be 2 hours and plus to review the whole year. It's great. We understand that we have to journal, but what should you actually write? First, you can write your goals. You can also write the gratitude for the day. You can just write anything that is on your mind and empty your thoughts like that. Or you can have specific set of questions to reflect. So if you find some, I don't know, some articles or YouTube videos of people who are sharing the questions they ask themselves on a regular basis, you can actually use them in your writing session to just answer them and have a guided introspection routine. Second systems to level up your stats is data tracking. Data tracking is something that resides in the concept of quantified self by Gary Wolf. Quantified self refers to the cultural phenomenon of self-tracking with technology. Quantified self practices overlap with the practice of life logging and other trends that incorporate technology and data acquisition into daily life, often with the goal of improving physical, mental, and emotional performance. And there is this quote of Peter Drucker that is very crucial to understand, which is, "You can't improve what you don't measure." So if you want to improve yourself, measure yourself. And by keeping track of our habits and specific data, we can actually observe if we are improving or not. Here are some examples of things you can track. First, there is sleep duration, then sleep quality if you have a device like Oura Ring or an Apple Watch, then there is your weight, then your measurement, spent, the time you spent working, and your habits, to just name a few. Measuring allows us to be aware of how we are doing in specific areas of life and take action if needed. It is very key to start measuring how you're doing with your life if you want to actually make some improvements. So there is some mistakes to avoid when implementing the systems that I want to talk about. First is measuring too many things. When you first start data tracking, you can easily get overexcited and start measuring your whole life in detail. The problem with doing that is that you will inevitably burn out and lose the habit of tracking, which is of course not the goal. Keep it stupid simple. Just track a few habits, few stats that you really want to improve on, and then with time, when you have the habit that is very locked down, you can actually start to measure more things if it's necessary. And like that's a very key thing. It's like don't measure things that you actually don't need to improve or that are not your priorities right now. And the second mistake that is actually a mistake in self-improvement in general will be judging your data. The toxic thing that can happen when data tracking is judging yourself. If you start to feel ashamed or demotivated because you have missed some habits, lost or gained weight, or had a bad quality of sleep, you are actually hindering your progress, because a process that was all about self-improvement became a process of self-abuse towards yourself. Be very aware of your own self-talk when measuring and tracking yourself, because you don't want to create shame and culpability with that. It is okay to miss, it is okay to fail. Don't judge yourself, as the shame and self-criticism will only make things worse. Instead, focus on what you can do better today. Only the present moment matters. How can you actually implement these two systems? For this system, Notion is actually the go-to. That's what I use, and as I said, stay until the end of the video as I will show you how I have implemented all of the systems I'm actually presenting you in my life, and it will make it very clearer for you to see how it is actually used in action. And you can easily track your habits and data with databases and the properties inside it. Actually, I will show you how it is in my own Notion so you can understand. So that was it for the first system. Then the second system will be managing your quests. So what I mean by quest? By quest, I mean your project and task that you actually have to work on. The best systems to do that is actually the GTD method. Getting things done, aka GTD, is a personal productivity and time management system popularized by David Allen in his book of the same name. The GTD method rests on the foundation that our brain is not good at remembering things, and that we have to note every task independently of when it has to be done, and then prioritize and plan those tasks accordingly. And there is this quote of David Allen which said there is an inverse relationship between things on your mind and those things getting done. So that's very, very important, why you actually need to empty your mind of the task that you have in your brain. So I will in this video only talk about the fundamentals of GTD in a simplified manner, because like the book is actually like made something like 600 pages. The systems gets like very complex when you are doing everything. So I want to keep it simple for this video, and I will only go through the fundamentals. And actually, if you just apply the fundamentals I'm talking there, you will have like 80% of the benefits of the method, because that's actually what is the most useful and important in it. The first thing is the inbox. An inbox is a place where you will write down every task that pops into your mind at random moments, like things to buy, content to create, games to play, activities to try, country to visit, etc. It can be anything. It's anything that is a task, so something that has to be done. The goal of the inbox is to free yourself of these tasks that are floating in your brain, because if you don't know them and review them later to plan them accordingly in priorities, you will end up remembering them indefinitely, which will take a lot of mental resources and RAM. Having an inbox is actually a game changer habit for everyone, and I really want to like talk further about that, because it's actually like one of the best habits you can have when managing your task is to just note the task when it pops into your mind, because it will just make your mind so much clearer and will make the process of managing your task and project so much easier. So how and when to clear the inbox? You can do it at the end of each day, and like you will review all the tasks in your inbox for the day and then assign them to project and categories where they belong to, and plan those who are the most important and according to your current priorities. For example, if you had task which is, oh, someday I want to run a marathon, then you know it's not going to be this week, you know, so you can just put it in a project that's in GTD. It's called Someday Maybe, which is actually a project of things you want to do someday, maybe like later in the future, and you can just put in a project like that where it will record all of the things you want to do later but you don't know when. The second very important habit to have is weekly reviews. So it goes with the weekly journaling reviews I was talking earlier. Every week, take time to review all of your tasks and projects, update them, and plan the next week in advance. So the process, quite simple. First, you will empty your mind of all the tasks still floating in your brain by writing them in your inbox if you still have any. Then you will clear the inbox. So as I say, the same process as here. Then you will check your calendar, and first you will check if there is any important events in the next 2 weeks. And two, you want to check the things that you might have forgotten or the things that you need to follow up in the past 2 weeks. So you just check the past 2 weeks of your calendar. If you are using one, I highly recommend it. Like you can use Google Calendar and just note events at specific time if needed, and it's a very good way to check events when there is like a specific time frame involved. Then you will check all of your tasks and projects and prioritize them for the next week. So how to implement it? You can use Notion as data tracking stuff I was talking earlier, but actually you can use any to-do list app. It will do the work. You can try Asana, Motion, and like any of the hundreds of to-do list apps that exist in this planet. The key thing is to have quick access to your inbox, ideally with a shortcut on your phone, and to actually do the weekly reviews every week. As I said, there are just the fundamentals of GTD that I'm explaining in a simplified way, but it's actually the two very most important things to do. So if you do these two things, as I said, you will get 80% of the benefits of the GTD method. Because if you don't, you will succumb to entropy's law, which states that every system that is not maintained will get back to its initial state, which is chaos and disorder. So as soon as you start like noting things in your inbox, clearing the inbox and doing the weekly reviews, the whole system will crumble and you will lose the benefits of mental clarity that the method gives. So of course that's not the goal. Then we have the third system. The third system is about learning new skills. So the system we will actually use to learn new skills is the Zettelkasten method. The Zettelkasten method is a note management system created by Niklas Luhmann that is based on a systemic approach to knowledge. Instead of thinking about fields of learning in a clustered manner like in school, we think of them as systems interconnected with each other. It is a way more efficient way of learning, which presents a lot of benefits. First, you will have a better usage of your notes, because if you are actually taking notes, I don't know, YouTube videos, articles or book, like did you realize that you're actually like rarely checking your notes, or like you never go in your notes to review them? Because actually that was the case for me before doing the Zettelkasten method. Secondly, we have a better memorization. Three, it will make the process of creating stuff way easier. And there is this quote of Steve Jobs who says, creativity is just connecting things. And you will see when I will show you actually how it looks like when you apply the Zettelkasten method, it will make it clearer for you about why it's easier to create and connect things. And you have a better understanding of the content, and it is easier to create new ideas. So Zettelkasten simplified. As I said in the GTD part, I'm just like teaching you the basics right now, because if I would to do an in-dive explication of all of the systems, it will actually take dozens of hours. So of course it's a simplified version, but it's like the Pareto's law of Zettelkasten. So the first thing is to take note of articles, books, videos, podcasts, courses, anything that you want to take note on. Then you will extract the core concepts that reside inside the note, and then you will create a permanent note that respects the atomicity principle. The atomicity principle is the idea that one note must be equal to one ID. So you don't want to put multiple IDs in a note, because if you do that, you won't be able to connect them very clearly with other notes, because that's the fourth step. It's connecting the notes with other notes that are related. So how to implement it? The easiest way is using the Obsidian app. There may be other apps that work, but like Obsidian is free, it works well. There is a lot of good community plugins that you can use to improve your experience with the app. So it's very, very good. So now, what does it actually look like when you have all of these systems implemented? So first, let me open Notion, and here is my own Notion. So in my Notion, I have a lot of things. Sorry if it's in French, but like I followed these courses in French. So here is my Notion, and here is where I have all of my life supporting systems. And here I'm going to show you basically how I'm doing everything that I showed you before, which is the GTD method, journaling, data tracking, and stuff like that. So of course I have a lot of other things that I have in these systems, because I have basically my whole life inside that, but I will only show you of course the systems that I have implemented. So here you can see first I have the inbox, and I have multiple inboxes because I have inboxes for tasks, content, and prospects, but you get the point. I have my inbox here. If I have something I want to do, I can just click on it. Then I have my habits, projects, content creation, the things I'm learning on, and stuff like that. So I will show you first how it is actually looking like to do the data tracking in Notion. So how do I do that? Basically I have multiple databases. I have days, weeks, months, quarter, and years, and here you can see I have all of my data that are logged in. So there is sometimes when I don't log in the systems, and actually that's fine. Important thing is just to do it in the long run. You know, sometimes I miss, but I don't shame myself for that. You know, it's okay. And so I will, for example, open today, and you can see for today, so there is like the week, there is the time I went to sleep, time I woke up, my sleep duration, my sleep quality. As you can see, 58% on the Oura ring, because I have the Oura device, which is a ring that you put to track your sleep, but my sleep sucks. I also track my screen time, you know, to manage my screen time with my phone, my working time with an application that is called Toggle. Here you can see I have my weight, I have my calories. I don't actually track them at this point in life, but there was a point when I was like very serious about my calories goal and I was tracking them every day. Here is my habits. So I have like sport, stretching, meditating, cold exposure, business, Mind Galaxy, which is learning basically, reading and stuff like that. And I also track other things like the things I feel grateful for the day and other stuff. And also I have like my basically journaling template here where I have like questions I ask myself and stuff like that. So that's a good way to use it as well. So that was it for data tracking. Then for tasks, so basically for tasks I have multiple dashboards as well to show everything, but you know, here I have like databases. I will not open them because I have a lot of things in them, but like you can see I have databases with the task for the day. Of course the only task I had left was to just record this stream, but yeah, you can see I have the databases, I have the habits there for the day, I have my projects that are going on right now, the tasks of the projects are going on right now. So that's how it looks like, and that's how it looks like to have your own system in your life to actually manage everything. Of course, when I go to Wix, I have my weekly templates, and basically if I go to my weekly templates, I have my weekly review for GTD here when I clear my inbox, check all the tasks and projects and other stuff that I couldn't explain in the video, you know, but basically you have the basics, which is reviewing your tasks and stuff and then planning. That's basically it for Notion. Now I'm going to show you my Obsidian. So Obsidian, as I said, it is for the learning management system for the GTD method. How does it look like? So here is a note, but here is my galaxy of notes. That's what I was talking about when it came to creating note and connecting them. So as you can see, every notes are a singular ID, respects the atomicity principles I talk about. So if I just zoom in and I take a random note, so for example, I have this quote: perception is reality. If you are perceived to be something, you might as well be it, because that's the truth in people's mind. And I have it linked with other ID. For example, I have the first principle of Dokodo, which is the life rules of Miyamoto Musashi. If you read Vagabond, you of course know him, which is accept things as they are. And I linked this because this quote is a bit of a arch truth, but you have to accept it because that's how the world works. So I think that was why there is a link between the two. Do I have another interesting link here? I have perception, and I have it linked with the fifth law of power from Robert Greene, which is everything depends on your reputation. Protect it with your life. So you know there is very like it's actually clear the link between these two. And if I go to them, I have of course other notes that are connected to this one. Here, for example, I have the authority bias. So of course authority bias, which means that people will respect and obey you more if you show them authority, which be expertise or like diploma, stuff like that. So of course authority depends on your reputation, so that's why they are linked. So that's how it works. And yeah, I think you have a clear overview of how it works. If you want me to dive deeper in some of the systems, just let me know in the comments below, and I will maybe make some streams or videos when I talk about this in more detail. And let's get back to the conclusion of this video. So that was it for today's stream. The goal of this video was to give you an overview of what it is possible to do by combining proven systems with nowadays digital tools. Do not try to implement all these systems at once. Take your time and do it step by step to create long-lasting habits, as the goal is not to have a burst of motivation and give up everything 2 weeks later. Also know that I have been using these systems for several years now, and that I spent hundreds of hours implementing them and following courses and stuff like that. So do not feel overwhelmed by seeing all of that. It is a lifelong journey, as the systems are all designed to support you throughout your whole life. But the investment is worth it if you think of the rewards in productivity, mental freedom and efficiency it will give you in the long run. As I said before, if you want me to dive deeper into each of the systems, let me know in the comments, and I will do more in-depth videos about it, as well as the technical aspect of implementing them. So feel free to let me know in the comments. And that was it for today's lesson. If you liked it, like, subscribe and comment below. As I said, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next streams. And for those on stream, feel free to ask your questions in the chat, and then going to play some Smash. So let's chill together.